You know what? I heard the funniest fact from Jimmy Carr, because he does shorts, or someone probably does shorts for him on YouTube. He's saying one of the things that the reason the marrying of second cousins was outlawed is to break the tribalism in parts of England, to accept royal rule. Yeah, so you couldn't strengthen the tribe's connections and interdependency and everything if you couldn't do the second cousins marrying thing. Yeah. So by removing that, you had to marry outside your circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, to just to keep the population going, and then that's a way of breaking the community and the connections and stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that. I mean, you ask anybody, you presume it's along the lines of genetics, because the royal families found that out. They're all cousins and cousins and cousins and cousins, and there's cases of them having the most horrendous children and having to bury them and stuff in some kind of tower or something. And it's, yeah.
Do you know why we started putting milk in tea?
Because it tastes bloody good.
No. It was so people would get back to work quicker.
Cools the tea down?
Yeah.
Really?
That's the only reason we put milk in tea.
Where did you find that out?
Can't remember.
Oh. Yeah. Do you ever have lychee?
Yeah, they're nice lychees.
Oh, I love lychee.
China eat a lot of lychees.
Yeah, that's where it comes from.
I used to have one in Singapore. So there's a time before we went to Indonesia, where we stayed in a flat, ground floor, first floor, second floor. I used to climb up the stairwell, go through the hatch onto the roof, and there was a lychee tree leaning over the flats. We used to say, God knows what age I was, 3 or 4 years old. Be up there, 35 foot from the ground.
Because you were living in a house further up the hill.
Mm.
Yeah, then you come further down the hill.
I think this was a different lane. This wasn't Serum Road. It was
it was a different road.
But same hill. Yeah, and I used to go up there, age 3 or 4, and pull the lychee from the tree and eat it while looking over Singapore Harbour. Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? You never realise how good you've got it till it goes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that your earliest memory?
No, my earliest memory is stepping off the sampan from our boat onto the jetty at the RSYC, and my leg going between the 2 planks of the jetty, and I scraped up the left side and I scraped up the right side. Both sides were and also I went straight into oily water as well. And the other earliest memory I have is when we got back in one night from a chug back in, and the storm was just insane. It was just blowing, and it was going up, and it was going down, and it was going up, and it was going down. And Dad moored the boat next to the jetty, and the jetty had a long ladder that went down into the water. Yeah. And Mum jumped off, and the boat was just going up and down by about 20, 25 foot. So what they did, someone sat on the jetty, and then when it would rise, pass someone over. It'd lower, then it'd rise, you'd pass the next person over, lower, rise, and it was a really slow, but I mean, just the height that was involved was incredible,
Right.
That was an early memory.
How old were you?
God knows, 2, 3.
Right.
So I've got a photograph when I stayed on board your boat. And there's a photograph of me standing up in a boat going across to the yacht club or wherever it is. But I had a towel around my waist, and I must have had something on underneath, maybe something
trunks or
something.
Yes.
And just standing up in the boat, sort of nude from there, going over there for a shower and a wash, and then I'd go back to the boat to get dressed.
Those boats were interesting.
My psychology teacher, he insisted that my earliest memories must be fake memories, because he says, no one can remember that far back in their life. Now, it was in Paris.
Yes.
And I've got a couple of memories from Paris. I remember drawing Father Christmas, and that was December 1979, so I was 2. Sort of reason why I dropped out psychology. So if my teacher doesn't know what he's talking about, then what's the point in studying? I mean, all these soft sciences, they get all their facts lined up, and that's it, what's the point?
Yeah, that's kind of...
Windsor and Maidenhead College.
Yes, it was, yeah.
I remember, and someone's going to have to quote me with this, but the whole hullabaloo when statistics started to be introduced in political discourse. And there was absolute fury at the fact, because everyone was saying, like, statistics are not the complete picture. They're a blunt instrument for a very subtle situation. Yeah? And I remember someone saying in Parliament that someone had a rebuke for someone that used statistics. They said, he uses statistics like a drunk uses a lamppost, more for support than illumination. It's just like, there must be so many great quotes that can be found in the records of, our
I'll
great
tell you what,
democratic
no
institutions.
MP in the House of Commons these days
Could
would
say
come
anything
out,
on that part. No. And this is the thing that annoys me. I remember reading a book. This is probably going back 5 or 10 years now, yeah? And it opens with, it's something like Roosevelt's speech as he's going around America to muster support for his presidential campaign, yeah, or Lincoln, one of the two, I can't remember, yeah. And they print the speech at the beginning of the book, and you're reading it, and you're like, I mean, like just top bloody draw oratory, to be fair, yeah, like fair play, this guy knows his stuff, that's amazing. And you're like, this is an acceptance speech. This is delivered in Capitol Hill, Congress or something, and it turns out this is a speech he delivered at a fair in a village. Yeah, and you're like, just where's the ability for us to like have that level of discourse and to be sit there and willing to accept it? If you gave that level of discourse to people, even if they were patient enough to sit around and listen to it, you'd be belittled, yeah?
I'm amazed at this. I'm amazed at how good people's handwriting was 100 years ago compared to ours today.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know about that. If you look at ledgers, they're literally illegible. Like, if you look at the ledgers of people coming into America and Ellis Island, where they kind of had to, write the information about them as they came in. I've seen some of those books. I can't read anything on that.
All right, okay.
But I mean, that's just, I'm giving one source, man.
Yeah, no,
it's not authoritative.
Whenever I see handwritten notes in a book from hundreds,
copperplate. Yes, I mean, absolutely.
Well, I'm not talking about the people. Yeah, I'm not talking about people who did this for their living. I'm talking about the
people
man on the street.
Ink to paper.
Yeah, people just generally could draw, which we can't do anymore. They had brilliant handwriting a lot of the time, which we've lost that. Most people's handwriting is very average now. And like you say, the quality of English they were talking is far more than... I mean, we can't talk like that. I mean, or some of it does sound a bit ridiculous, like all these poets, these old poets and their slushy love poems and that. But at least they could do that, at least they...
At least they could put it together.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And a use of language. But they did a very interesting thing about the use of the English language, and I wish I could recall who this was for. They were like, oh, lawyers and solicitors use this many words, professors use this many words, lecturers and teachers use this many, when they went through all the things, and then eventually they went down to like prisoners, and they were saying prisoners on average use 65 words in a day.
That was the lowest of it.
And it's just like, it's just insane, because they have no need for an expansive language in the way
their living situation is so... There's nothing going on in prison.
Yeah, but I'd put it to you, Paul, when you're outside of prison, it's probably sort of 65 words.
I would be interested to know if that's true, because I suspect the reason why they only use 65 words a day is because they have such a bland life and environment.
Yes.
Why would you need more than 65 words?
All right.
You need to have people...
I'm really harsh, but I still reckon it'd be pretty bloody low.
I don't know. I mean, Cockney rhyme, they invented their own language, and they were the poor.
Yeah, but you wouldn't stop using Cockney rhyme because you're in prison.
No, what I'm saying is...
your language is still your language, and you have the ability to use it, and you'd seek out a friendship circle in which you could use your language.
But what do you talk about when you're in prison? What did you have today? Porridge? Oh, all right.
Well, no, they say a cultured man is never alone. So if you've read a good book, we'll talk about that. I mean, you could read Jack Reacher, at least you've got something to talk about.
In prison? Do they get books in prison?
I think so.
Yeah.
Prison library. Huh?
Oh, Dad, don't. Yeah, all right. Whenever we do a podcast, Dad sticks the kettle on.
Yeah.
We have the world's loud. We have the world.
No. If you're recording it,
Richard, put it on. It'd be great. It'll be a marker. It'll be a marker in the process.
We have the world's loudest kettle.
Well, boy, you keep going on about microplastics and pans and all this rubbish. Yeah, you've got a neon teal coloured kettle and toaster.
That's why I boil my water in the saucepan. I don't.
Why don't
use
you
that
just get a
kettle.
metal kettle?
We did have a metal kettle. Then one day I
actually
came
like the
home
word
and we had a
metal
green
kettle.
one.
Oh, well, just get binned, yeah?
The metal one, I guess it broke down. But no, I don't use that kettle.
Right. Cool.
Jeff Bezos said if you've got statistics and anecdotal evidence and they don't correspond, go with the anecdotal evidence.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, this is my theory of the news, is that if you have an unfortunate situation that you don't want people to riot around, you use facts and make it clean and present it in a monotone voice. If you have an unfortunate situation in which you want people to riot and cause problems with, find and interview an individual about the situation. You know, because people don't care about groups, they care about the individual. So if you say 1,000 children got killed in Gaza, you just can't, your mind can't picture that. So you can't actually put that into, you can't imagine it. Yeah? But if you go and interview a mother in Gaza who lost a child, then you're emotionally involved in the situation. Yeah? And I do think that's one of the secrets of the news. And I really hate that. There's something they don't want to confront and talk about. They wrap it up on statistics. And if it's something they want you to be emotionally involved in, they will then interview an individual about it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're all doing trickery like that.
Oh, it's probably one of the many things in their arsenal. You know?
Well, they get pulled up on their use of language all the time.
And the other thing is, if they want someone to look like a loon or crazy or not reliable or bad, let's just put it under the umbrella term bad. You know what they do? They just hold the shot to make him look like a loon bag. You know, it's not his decision to hold the shot. Yeah, and anyone's going to look awkward if you hold the shot. It's a really what I don't like is the fact that when they employ these techniques, they think you're stupid, and I really hate it when people think I'm stupid. Yeah, they haven't even asked or found out anything about me. They just presume.
Well, when you're watching,
I'm susceptible to stupidity.
Well, hang on. When you're broadcasting to the general population, I mean, right? When I was at school, I don't know if it's still true, but newspapers sold in large quantities back then. The biggest selling newspaper by a country mile was The Sun.
Yeah.
The
Sun, page 3.
The Sun. The Sun's reading age was 8.
8 years old?
Yeah.
So 8-year-old kids were looking at boobs?
No. The reading age of the language they were
Oh,
using.
right.
8. And that's what sold the most papers. If you write for a university graduate, you're not going to sell many papers.
Well, this is why I said people in prison don't have as many words in their daily speech. Yeah?
Well, again, I think prison is such a unique and bland environment that makes that statistic
I'm sure that's an
useless.
impact, but I'm sure would agree that they probably have limited language outside of that anyway.
If you're a scientist and you're doing an experiment, you have to make sure that there's no other variables influencing your samples. You know what I mean? It's like if you're trying to decide, I don't know.
That's why you should do a double-blind experiment.
Well, you just don't want any other variables poisoning your result. And the thing is, if you're talking about people who are in prison and then talking about people who are outside of prison, two completely different environments, and then saying, who uses the most words? Well, yeah, but it's probably largely because
this is why when you come across pollsters and they've got questions for you and you listen to the question, you're like, that's just the stupidest question I've ever heard, because they've tried to strip back every use of the language to make sure it's the most middle-of-the-road question they can ask to reflect a truer response. Yeah? So and because you can ask a weighted question to make your results look better.
It depends how you interpret the answer. I mean, if you
Have
ask...
you stopped beating your wife? Have you stopped beating your wife?
Yeah, that's a good one.
By the way.
Like I say, that it all depends on what you're extracting from the answers. So if you think it shows one thing, then...
But it's like
for example...
Do you hate purple-headed people? Yeah? Or do you hate purple-headed people that commit murder?
Right.
Yeah, and then you can just say, oh, well, look, all the people that, because they hate purple-headed people that commit murder, they hate purple-headed people. So therefore you can derive that. And it's very lazy research.
Exactly. The problem with the example you just given isn't necessarily the question or the answer. It's what
the technique.
No, it's what they've done with that information. That's the point in which you corrupt it. That's what I
mean by a weighted question.
But the thing is, a question is fine. There's nothing wrong with... There's no stupid question. It all depends on what you do with the answer. Whether or not... Because it's... like for example, what Dad said...
1 plus 1 is not a stupid question.
No, it's not. There's nothing wrong with saying 1 plus 1. 1 plus 1 is fundamental to a lot of things. If 1 plus 1 wasn't 2, it would completely change the universe. But what Dad just said there, have you stopped beating your wife? Now, there's nothing wrong with that question.
No, it assumes that you were beating it.
It depends what you do with the answers. Because, for example, my answer would be no. I haven't stopped beating my wife because I was never beating her in the first place, right? My answer...
Yes, I would add that second.
No, you wouldn't. Yeah, but the thing is, Dad, there's nothing wrong with saying, have you stopped beating my wife? And I say no, without explaining the answer. Because they might... As long as you're not extracting from that I was therefore beating my wife before, because see, it all depends on
Isn't that naturally going to evolve, like water going down a hill?
Only if the person who's interpreting the answer decides to just do the knee-jerk reaction what a normal person would. But
the collapsedness of the question dictates that. They've asked a bloody stupid question.
There's nothing wrong.
They're going to take your answer and manipulate it.
Well, that's the problem. There's nothing wrong with the question.
Suddenly someone's going to become intelligent between the question and the answer.
No. There's no change in that respect at all. If you ask, have you stopped beating your wife, right? Now, somebody might say, yes, I have stopped beating my wife. Now, that person was beating their wife before, and now they've stopped. Everyone else falls in the don't know, because just because you say, no, I haven't, doesn't mean you're continuing to beat your wife or that you even started. Now, as long as the people interpreting the answer are aware of that and don't misrepresent that, there's nothing wrong with the question. Because you might be out there, and your purpose of asking a question might be purely to find out
the
if people
format
stop
of a
beating their
question can tell you a lot about the person.
No.
That wants your answer.
No, not about the person. No, in the example I've just given, they might be trying to find out who here...
They might.
Yeah, well, no one knows everything, definitely, but I'm saying a scenario where that isn't a stupid question would be that if
you just said there's no stupid questions.
Yeah, I know.
So you can't say there's a stupid question.
I'm not saying that.
There are no stupid questions.
Arthur, you're not listening to me. If you are trying to find out of a group of people, how many of these people have stopped beating their wife, and obviously they were, if they have stopped, that might be the only thing you're trying to find out. So anyone who answers yes is a tick, and anyone who answers no is a cross. Irrespective of whether they ever were beating their wife or not, no gives you the same result to the question you're looking for. Now, that doesn't tell you anything about the person.
No gives you the same result to what you were looking for.
Yeah, because you're only interested in the people who have stopped beating their wife.
How do you know?
Because in the scenario I'm giving, where that question would be perfectly sensible.
You're presuming that's presumptuous. You don't know what the person that presented the question's looking for.
No, I'm not presuming anything's ever happened. I'm giving you a scenario of where that question...
The scenario is a presumption.
That scenario isn't a presumption.
Well, it is.
What are you talking about?
Well,
a scenario isn't a presumption.
Yeah, you're presuming something.
So if you ever give a scenario to illustrate a point, Arthur...
You're presuming something.
Why? You're just inventing a scenario.
Which is a possible outcome, so that's presumption.
A scenario isn't a possible outcome. A scenario is an event. You're giving a hypothetical event. There's no presumption, no outcome.
The presumption is that at some stage you were beating your wife, and therefore if you stop beating your wife, okay. Rather than saying, have you ever beaten your wife?
Yeah.
And if they said yes or no, that's fine.
Yeah.
And if they say yes, I have beaten your wife.
Yeah. You know they're a bad person.
Have you stopped it? Yeah. Have you stopped it? Are you still doing it?
And then no means they might not have started, or they've stopped beating their wife.
No. If the question is, have you ever beaten your wife? You say no, then that's it.
I thought you said stop beating your wife.
Yeah, but the stop beating her, that's what makes it. It assumes that at one stage
A presumption
in that, so you get rid of the presumption.
So what happens? What do you answer if you've never beaten your wife?
No.
Well,
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So no covers I've stopped and I never even started.
That's correct.
And yes is like
I
I'm
have
still
been,
doing
and no. Yes means I was previously, but now I stopped.
No. Yes. Yeah. No, that is right. Have you stopped beating your wife? Yes, that means you did, and you've now stopped.
That's correct.
Have you stopped beating your wife? No, that means you're still beating her.
Not necessarily. You might have never beaten her.
Oh, so it's you're never beating her, or you're still beating her.
Correct. Yeah. So if you are only interested in finding...
I'm finding that hard to understand, and I consider myself a little bit intelligent. So asking the general populace, you'd probably get a very varied level of, responses, I would have thought.
Well, I don't think there's any confusion.
I find that quite hard to decode.
If somebody asked you, have you stopped beating your wife, would you be confused?
I'd seek clarity.
Yeah,
because I'd be like, I've never beaten my wife. What's the answer?
That's what I would. Well, yeah, I would reply, I've never beaten my wife.
I understand that, Dad. But if they were, again, a hypothetical situation where I'm not making any assumptions. If you're a sociologist. And you just want to find out how many people from this group have beaten their wife and stopped, right?
Yeah.
You could get that information from one question, and that question would be, have you stopped beating your wife?
No, that would be very misleading.
No, it's not misleading.
Right, let's listen to your dad.
No. Some people might be like you, say, okay, no, because you haven't, and... if you say yes,
and also
if you say yes, then the presumption is okay. They're saying you presume they're saying they used to beat her and now they stopped.
Well, no, you don't presume that. That is what that's what yes means to that question. There's no assumption there.
You've got three situations. You've got never beaten, beaten and stopped, and beaten and continued.
You never stopped because you never started.
Yeah, I know. So they would find that hard to find in the
understand.
Mm.
So,
but you're not. I don't think you're. Dad, I understand the ambiguity between the people who have.
That's what I was looking for.
I understand the ambiguity between the people who have never beaten their wife in the first place and the people who are beating their wife but haven't stopped are in the same category.
Yeah,
I understand that, right? But what I'm saying,
don't doubt you don't.
Yeah, I know, but this is why I don't understand why Dad's contesting what I just said. If you're a sociologist and you're not interested in those people, you just want to know how many of them who have been beating their wife and have stopped.
Right. Okay.
So you're finally listening to what I'm saying.
In that situation, your question is valid because you're only looking for one input.
So it's not a stupid question. It's actually the most economical way of getting.
It's the most economical way to get to the answer that you want. Yeah.
If you do what we're suggesting, where you want to clarify between the people who have never ever beaten their wife and the people who are continually beating their wife and not stopping, then you could do that. For the purpose I'm talking about, you wouldn't need to because they're not the answers you're interested in.
Any question that's ever been devised, I can build a hypothetical around it that could make that question logical.
Like I said,
but in a real world situation, in the reality we live in, I think there's stupid questions.
Go on, give me an example of stupid
question. Is the sky blue?
That's not a stupid question.
It is, because it's blue.
Are all easy questions stupid?
Huh?
Are all easy questions
Okay,
stupid?
now I will give you that the bar between a stupid question and a normal question is a movable metric.
The sky,
I will give you that.
In Thailand
That's
is
fine.
purple at sunset. It's beautiful.
Well, yeah, the sunsets in this country can make it.
If you ask
make
me
it
at six,
red.
if you ask me at 6 o'clock in the evening in Thailand what colour's the sky, that would, I imagine a lot of people would ask that because you don't know what colour sky is at 6 o'clock in Thailand.
Okay, but I just need to modify my question. Put the word normally in.
Okay, well,
because the sunsets and sunrises only last for a certain amount of time.
I get you.
Yeah.
It's a very
but then
easy
you could
question.
say, but then you could say the sky's black because it's night time.
Correct.
And you could do all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But then,
but
quite
the sky's
frankly,
blue.
Paul, if you start doing that, then you're stupid, and I just walk away.
But
So
I
it's just
don't
like
see
because
why-
you've been belligerent towards the
I
task.
think
of
one of the
thing.
most overused words in English language is stupid. I think one of the most overused words in the English
No,
language
but
is stupid.
also the other thing is that every question you throw at me, I could find a little point of contention with you and wind you up and annoy you.
Yeah, but that's a different point.
Just like, you know.
That's that.
No, but you can poke holes in anything.
Again,
Is it
yes.
reasonable to poke holes and stuff? That's what I'm getting at.
Well,
you know?
not for its own sake, but you might have somebody who is just super cautious about their answer and just keeps questioning. But the thing is, that doesn't mean the question is stupid. See, I don't, like I say...
Well, I just use, like, the barrier of common sense. Yeah.
Here's one thing that relates to painting, right? You can say, what colours do I like? I like red, I like blue, I like green. But the thing about in painting is whether or not you're going to put blue, red or green or whatever on the painting, it's all relative to the colours that are around it.
But it's relative to you.
And that as well. But
And
the
that's
thing
why I find it a stupid question. To you...
Right, repeat the
between
stupid
you and
question.
me,
What was the question?
between you and me,
Yeah.
what colour's your favourite colour? That's a normal question. That's absolutely fine because it's
Yeah.
you and me.
Right.
Me as a generic question, what's your favourite colour? I'm not going to get. I'm going to know what individually for everybody what their favourite colour is.
Right.
But I'm not going to have any consensus. Yeah. If I go,
Why do you need there to be a consensus? I would be quite interested to know what most people's favourite colour is. I don't know why, but I'd just be quite interested to know that. My favourite colour's red. I don't know why I'd be interested, but, you know, it's not a stupid question.
whole context thing. Because for me, I have to value the relationship I have with that person to actually put any value in their answer. And I value our relationships. I value the
But
answer
if you're asking people on the street,
but secondly, I just think it's too simplistic because it really depends on a multitude of factors. Like, you know, if you don't have any red, what are you leaning on? What medium are you using? How are you feeling that day? Have you argued with on? You know, have you been out? There's so many factors that bleed into like what you like, and colours are so intrinsic. You know, like we say, we're feeling blue today. You know, they're so intrinsically linked to our mood. Yeah, black is the colour of the night, and a bright yellow is the colour of the day. You know, they're imbued in nature and our lives, so they go with our feelings. So they can. It's. I see colour as like a transitory state.
you know, blue being the colour of sadness, I think that only came about around because of jazz music and the blues and Picasso's blues period. Prior to that, I don't think there's any association of
but
blue
look at the night
with
sky.
the mood.
Yeah, black, dark. Yeah, can't see, scary, nothing there, no form, void. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any bright primary colour. Yeah, light. You know, ability to see distance. You know, and just everything that comes with light. Yeah. So it communicates things. Yeah? This is why, I gave my trophy moment to the guy Declan at work, is because he does design. I don't know anything about design. I'm a back-end developer.
It's a trophy moment.
Trophy moment is where you celebrate someone. Yeah, in your team. You just say you're awesome.
Not well done or something.
Yeah,
Something
basically it's well done, but like probably Americanized. I don't know. Yeah, but it's something we have.
So what do? You get together and have a trophy moment?
No, we have a team meeting, and then two people are selected during the team meeting to give a trophy moment. Yeah.
Do you make fun of this at work?
Everybody else does, but I take it seriously. The reason being is...
You've never been given it.
I don't know if I've been given it, actually. I think I have, because I gave Florence a trophy moment, she gave me a trophy moment. So, but I take it seriously because there's a lot of people that are disgruntled and lost in their work, and they don't see purpose in what they do. Right. And it saddens them because what they do used to give them joy, and it now no longer gives them joy. So I use a trophy moment to zoom in on someone and go, no, what you do is amazing, it's awesome, and I don't understand it, and thank you for explaining it, and I think it's incredible.
My toes would be curling if I was in this meeting.
There's a lot of people that don't like it and don't like its format. Yeah,
I'll tell you what. I used to work for an American sales company on is it Osborne Road, Dad? That connects to Brick Lane, Aldgate East Station. It doesn't matter. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll be quick. An American sales company, and we had to go out and try and sell stuff on the street. They gave us a bag of,
crack.
Like nail clippers, just generally, children's toys, rubbish like that, and we'd go around and sell it, and then we see how much
profit like a latter-day Temu.
Yeah, it's like Temu, and we would go back to the office at the end of the day, and whoever made the most money. Now, to ring the bell, that's you've made £60. So
mate, we had it in the call centre. We had Don the Gone.
We had Don the Gone. Well, actually, no, not our office.
Don the Gone. What's it called?
Well, no, the other office, I think the Elephant and Castle office, I think they had Dong the Gong, but we only had Ring the Bell. Dong the Gong was 100. Right, but what happened at the end of the day, we always just stand in a horseshoe shape and clap. And they put on this like rave dance music. We have to clap to the beat of the music. And then we'd take it, and everyone who made £60 would walk into the middle, pick a bell up and ring the bell, and then walk around and high five everyone else in the office.
I see the high fiving's cringy.
Yeah.
The bell, no.
And then if you made 100, if in Elephant and Castle you made 100, they had the gong, and you dong the gong. It was funny, but it's the American way. And I say it.
The one I liked in my call centre was the balloons. Yeah. So everyone had 3 balloons on the back of their chair, and if you made 5 sales or whatever it was. Yeah, every time you made 5 sales or 3 or whatever it was, you got the pin on your pod, and you could go around any of the other pods and pop someone's balloon.
Someone else's
balloon. So there we've had like balloon wars, and it was really cool because you'd get down to the last 2 people, and it'd be like 200 quid on the table. I mean, it was no small amount of money. It was serious, and these guys and that really drove to. But you know what this goes back to is that there was a factory that had a sales or admin department above the factory, and their numbers were low. And I wish I could remember this story, but the guy that ran the factory went, right, okay, and he had a staff. He had an AM staff and a PM staff. And when the AM staff left, he wrote the number of sales, like 8 sales, in a big letter 8 on the wall above the entrance to the door as people walked up. Yeah. So the PM people came in, they didn't know what 8 meant. They said, well, that's the amount of sales that the AM people have put in, and the PM people are like, well, we can do better than that. That's ridiculous. It's crap.
Yeah.
So rub it down, right? Let's do what we got to do, and that's how he created a competition between the AM people and the PM people.
Yeah.
So that's like how it originally started.
There's another one on a Saturday. If we came in, did an extra day on Saturday, we'd go out and said, right, you've got to sell everything. Just sell everything in your bag. The first person to come back got 250 quid. The second person got 1 quid, and the third person got 100 quid.
Oh, that's just harsh.
Well,
how does that work?
Don't come second. You should have come first.
Well, what about third?
Yeah, well, they get more. Just don't come second.
Oh, that's harsh, that is. Jesus.
Well, I enjoyed it.
There's that story in the Bible, isn't there, about a guy that hires 3 people to do a job, and one of them's really good, the other one's not bad, and the other one just doesn't turn up, and he's completely lazy. and he pays them all a fair day's wages for what he's hired them for. And the first two kick off. Yeah, this I'm probably misquoting this biblical story very badly, but first two kick off and go, guy's lazy, doesn't rock up, and he does a bad job. Yeah, and it's quite interesting because the guy that's paying him, you know what he says? He goes, "It's my money, and I shall do as I will."
Right.
And that's a really interesting concept. I never thought of that. You know,
I think I know.
What was the object of giving them the money then?
Well, to do work, but I mean, I think this is like a parable. You know, it's
I
to
think
learn
I
the
know
fact
the
that
one you're referring to.
Yeah, that money does not belong to you. That's not your money.
No.
That's someone else's money, and they can do with it as they will. They can give it to the rich and the poor and the alike, the hard working and the lazy alike. You know.
Now, I also don't remember it that well either, but I remember one I think you're referring to, and it was, I'll give you £150, let's say, or £100, make it simple, for a day's work. And like you say, you might have the ones that work really hard get their £100, and the guy that does nothing gets his £100, and the other two are complaining. And the man says, look, the deal was you get £100 for a day's work and you've got your £100. What's the problem?
Yeah.
And I think that might have been about the idea of forgiveness of sin. Is you can have somebody who leads a very honest, life, and somebody who parties and doesn't, but repents his sins and is forgiven, and they both end up with the same outcome.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad about it. I think that was.
Yeah, I think it's just like also keeping your lane. It's got nothing to do with you. You got your money, just be happy that, you've got the situation. I tell you what, every bad thing in my life has happened because I got involved in politics that didn't involve me. It's trying to help in
everything bad in your life is because of that?
No, that's a massive sweeping statement, but it is 11 o'clock at night, Paul, so I think you'll give me some grace. Right, I'm going to go to bed.
Okay.
I shall bid you adieu. No, it's not adieu, is it? I won't see you again.
Adieu, yeah. I overheard that this morning.
Yeah, well, Richard told me that means I'll never see you again.
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus.
That's it.
Yeah. No, au revoir.
I've heard people say I'll bid you adieu before.
But
maybe
I didn't. That's why I suppose it holds such. I don't know. You remember it so memorable because it holds that fact that's it. That's like the guy going over the top in the war, and he knows he's going to get shot.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. It's the swan song.
And then there's à tout à l'heure means soon, or à demain, I'll see you tomorrow,
or putain.
How is your French, Arthur?
Oh, I can't see ça. It's not good. It's very how's my French, Paul?
Yeah.
I was the only person in the 200-year history of my school to be kicked out of French. Yeah, because they said your time, Mr. Johnstone, would be better spent on your other subjects. Yeah. So you're average on everything. Why didn't you go and become good at something? Yeah, and I said, look,
I like the sound of your school.
Huh?
I should have had your school.
Yeah, because the thing is, they're in there, and they were like, what don't you understand? I'm not like, what don't I understand? I said every object is a man or a woman. So I've got to know what the object is, the name of the object, and in addition, I have to know the sex of the object. I said, I can't do that. I said, I've got problems with bloody English. I walk around with a dyslexic dictionary. I had a dictionary, Paul, at school, that when you went through it, it had words in black and words in red. The words in red were phonetic, the way you would imagine a word to be spelt, and then next to it I have a word in black, which is the way you actually spelt it.
So your school recognised your dyslexia.
Yeah.
That's why they told you not to bother with French.
I know, so I was totalically bad at it. But then, flip the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, they understood.
I went to university, and then the careers advisor at university, when I was in my first year, he goes, so I read on your school report you've got dyslexia. So he goes, I'll help you get extra equipment for your degree. I was like, Well, what's extra equipment? And he goes, well, you're entitled to a printer. I was like, cool, I like that. Not the laptop, you've got to do that yourself. You're entitled to a camera. So, what the fuck am I going to do with a camera? Like, why would I need a camera? Like, it's got nothing to do with my degree. And an iPod. And I'm like, this is lunacy. I said, this has got nothing to do with my degree. And he goes, oh, you get them for free from the local council. And I was like, I need a grant. I need a grant to pay for this.
Why don't they just give you the money it would cost them to give you a load of use?
Don't even start.
Public sector.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I'll see you in the bright early bushy tailed.
They give you extra time. If it's a 3-hour exam and you're dyslexic, give you 4 hours to do it.
Yeah.
That would be more sensible.
Are you still? I mean, have you found a way to overcome your dyslexia?
No, I don't think that important.
And is it spelling?
You wouldn't want German. There are 3 cases.
Oh, yeah. It's all a bit mad with German, isn't it?
So how does your dyslexia manifest itself?
Just spelling.
Right. You can read all right?
Yeah, my reading's fine.
Mum was dyslexic.
Yeah.
She gave me a shopping list. It had Claire's Diet Coke written on it.
Yeah.
All 3 words are spelt wrong.
Yeah.
The name of her daughter,
Yeah.
Diet and Coke, all spelt wrong.
Yeah. Well, her dad died when she was 14, and she didn't go to school after that. So she had to stay at home.
Yeah.
Because her mum was on the buses earning some money.
Yeah.
So she stayed home looking after her father, and didn't go to school and left.
But that wouldn't have affected her being dyslexic.
Oh no.